All right, and we'll go ahead and get started here with Fort Hays State next. We have Coach Tony Hobson and Coach Mark Johnson. Coach Johnson, I'll have you go ahead and start us off with an opening statement.
Yeah, I just appreciate you guys putting this on for us. Really want to, thank the MIAA. I feel like if you look around the conferences around the country, MIAA and Mike Racy and all you guys have been probably the most aggressive fighting for us to get started on time and have a season. So greatly appreciate it to you guys in the league for doing that. Looking at our team as we move forward, we're excited. It's been a long preseason. Having, our exhibition games were canceled and things like that. So this is probably one of the longer preseasons we've had. So I know our players are very happy to get as we get closer to the regular season. Our team in general, we're a very young team, youngest team I've had, and this is my 20th season here. We have 6 freshmen, 3 sophomores. We have a few injuries to probable starting guards, so I would say we're probably even going to be younger than we even anticipated before the season started, having to play some young guys right away. And, that's, I think they're ready for it. And we're, as a group, we're all ready to get the season started. And Jared Vitztum was an all-conference player a year ago. He's even better this year, and I feel like he's one of the top players in the league. And I think anytime when you have one of the better players in the conference, that gives you an opportunity to be competitive and have a good season. So we'll see, and we'll find out shortly. But a young, exciting team ready to go.
Coach Hobson, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, and appreciate you guys doing this, and a little different setting than what we're used to, but hopefully we can get the same thing done. Like Mark, I'm a really young team. We're got 6 freshmen and 4 returners probably that played significant minutes for us last year. So again, everything's been disjointed this year. It's probably not the ideal year to have no exhibition games or no pre-conference games. For us, with a young team, you would like to get as much experience going in as possible. So we start off with Washburn, Emporia, Kearney, which will be 3 really tough games for us. But we do have some experience coming back at key positions. I think we have one of the top players in the conference with Jaden Hobson. She's at a key position, point guard. Was our leading scorer last year and led us in assists, and a good solid player. Also, Whitney Randall played significant minutes. She started most of the year after a key injury to another player. So we have good experience there with seniors. Also, Madison Mitty, who came off the bench last year, is also a senior. I guess now they're all juniors. So we do have some good experience. Sydney Bergman also came off the bench for key minutes. So we're just hoping we can mix that experience in with the young kids. We have not started we haven't started a freshman here for 5 years, and she started part of the season. So we've always had a lot of experience on the floor and could kind of mix those freshmen in. It's probably not going to be like that this year.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions for Coach Johnson or Coach Hobson. Just a reminder, if you do have a question, please turn on your camera and unmute your mic. So we'll go ahead and start here with, looks like, Rick Peterson.
For both Mark and Tony, how will getting another year of eligibility for your players, how will that affect who we might see on the floor this year?
I mean, that's a good question. This is obviously something new we haven't dealt with. So maybe some guys you had planned on redshirting, you're not going to redshirt now possibly, and they'll be out there. So, I really don't know how that'll play out. Quite frankly, I think as we start the season, we're just going with it what we'd normally do. And as the season progresses, you might make some changes. That's one thing. Before I always said it took 5 or 6 games before you decided who you wanted to redshirt. And I think now you will have that opportunity. So maybe pull a guy off. And all that, but I really, I think going in to start the year, we're just going to do it like we always do. But I think there's definitely some flexibility as the season progresses with these guys kind of having this year being a free year for them.
I don't think it's going to affect this year near as much as next year. I think you'll see a lot of differences next year. We could have after the early signing date tomorrow, we will have a 10-person freshman class next year. So I think next year you'll see more changes as far as playing time adjusted. And I don't know what's going to happen with seniors, if they'll all come back. Some of them are in some fields that aren't very conducive to another year. So we'll have to wait and see, but I don't see anything really different for us this year. I think the changes we'll see probably are next year.
All right, Gerard, I got your message there. Go ahead and ask your question here. If there's no camera, I see that you have a question, so go ahead.
Out of the both coaches, you talked about the youth of your teams. How have some of the freshmen and the young players progressed through practice? And I mean, you see some of them playing some significant roles this year.
Yeah, for us, I mean, they've already come a long way before the first game. I mean, with Nige being out first semester, I mean, we're going to play 2 freshman point guards, and that'll be a challenge, like Tony mentioned earlier. And what makes it even more of a challenge is the fact that preseason we didn't have exhibition games, scrimmages, we didn't have non-conference games, getting yourself ready, and all that. But like I said earlier, sometimes the not knowing is a positive for your freshmen. They don't know what they're getting into as far as the MIAA and all that, and that's probably a good thing early. But we've seen a lot of improvement, and obviously they're not where they need to be. But if they can continue to make the strides as we progress during the season, they're going to be good players. I don't think talent is an issue. It's just experience and making that adjustment going from high school basketball to the MIAA. But we're confident they can do it.
Well, for us, there's a negative part that we have a bunch of freshmen, but the positive is that our freshmen are really good as far as freshmen go. I think we have a couple of freshman post players that are both solid players and good size, but even practices can't replicate what they're going to see as far as physicality goes in our league. So I think that's a big adjustment for post players coming out of high school. We all know that in high school they can't really touch anybody, and they'll be fouled out in the first quarter. So it's just a big adjustment for them. But we do have some kids that can step in and I think contribute right away, and they will have to. They will get that opportunity. But I would sure like to have had a few test runs. Although our pre-conference season was not going to be easy, it's still, I always consider those games easier than our conference ones. So it would have been good to have a few test runs, but we're in the same boat everybody else is. So we'll see what happens.
For Coach Hobson, kind of a unique experience having Kansas State come to your house for a game. Can you kind of just talk a little bit about how that came together?
Well, we were supposed to play a preseason exhibition like today or tomorrow, I don't know, last week sometime, and it got canceled because they could not do that. So their first games could be on the 25th. Their first scheduled game isn't until the 29th, so they expressed an interest in maybe playing after our first 2 conference games, playing an exhibition anyway. And since we don't have a game until the following Saturday, I thought it would be fine to do that. Then they found out that their men, the COVID deal, they're playing a classic at their place on that Wednesday. We were going to play early. They were going to play in the evening. They have to split their games because they have to disinfect the arena. So they got a special waiver that allowed them to travel out here and play because Division I's cannot play on Division II home floors for exhibitions. So they got a waiver. We got it cleared. So we're gonna play them on a day before Thanksgiving in the afternoon and able to have fans and everything. So it's a unique experience. It'll be a good deal. Hopefully, you know how those things are. Could be a good deal. It might not be very good. So I just think anytime you get a chance to play another game this year, you don't know when the last game you play might be. So you just better take advantage and play every time you can in front of a crowd.
All right. Any additional questions for Coach Johnson or Coach Hobson?
Yeah, for both of them. What has impressed you so far with your teams?
I think just youth brings excitement, You know what I mean? And I think they're excited to be out there every day. And like I said, this has been a longer preseason, you know, with us starting back. I counted we're starting 10 days later than we did last year in our first game. You know, partly calendar, partly we're starting later. So I think, you know, sometimes you got an older team. They've been in the monotony of practice. They've done the same practice for 4 years. So I think, you know, having youth out there, this is all brand new, exciting for them. And all that, I think, has been a good thing for us.
Well, for us, I think our team looks totally different. In the last few years, 2 years especially, we've been really big, long on the perimeter and a bit slow. So we've played a lot of half court and done it fairly effectively. This year, we're going to be a lot faster. And again, with the youth we have, you know, so we just have more speed than we've had for several years. So I think that along with just shooting the ball better, I think we have better perimeter shooters and a little more speed, less experience and a little less size. So it's just gonna be different.
And then for both coaches, could you just talk a little bit about who are some of the players that have you seen make the most strides in the off season?
I mean, like I said, Jared had a great year last year. Jared's really added to his game. Last year he shot it extremely well. You know, this year he can drive it, he can score in the post. So I think he's made a great stride. Really made a great. He was a walk-on here when he first came here 5 years ago. He's worked really hard in the weight room in his game. Caleb Hammock, he's a guy that redshirted last year. He'll be a freshman this year, but he'll get out there and play. Our guy from Iceland, Bjarne Janssen, really that first year last year was an adjustment for him, just coming over to the country and doing all that. He's much improved, and I think you'll see him. Alvin Thompson's a returner. That's a junior college kid. Sometimes it takes him that second year to get confident and comfortable. So I think our returners, Gilbert Peters from Montezuma, Kansas, Copeland Montezuma South Grade High School, played a backup role last year. He'll play a much bigger role this year. So I think our returners have all improved from a year ago. And like I said, I think our young people have gotten better from the first day. So we're not where we need to be, but I don't know if anybody is right now. So we just need to keep moving forward.
Well, for us, our 3 seniors, you know, came back, you know, fit and healthy and ready to go. You know, seniors never have as much room to improve as the younger kids, but you know, sometimes you just hope they don't regress and go backwards. And so they definitely showed up ready to go and in good shape. I think Sydney Bergman has shown a lot of improvement. She's going to, you know, probably be in the starting lineup, or if not, play a lot of minutes for us, and just really improved physically and skill wise. I think Lauren Reether, point guard that came off the bench for us last year as a freshman, I think she's improved a lot too, and we'll see more time. So, you know, again, we just want to get started, and I'll tell you here in a couple months which ones have improved and which ones haven't.
All right, we do have about 2 minutes here, so if there are any additional questions, feel free to ask those. All right, hearing none, Coach Johnson, I just have a quick one for you. You know, last year's the first time in recent memory you guys haven't been to Kansas City. How do you kind of rebound and get back to Kansas City this year?
Well, I mean, we got to just, you know, I thought we have to improve defensively. We weren't very good defensively last year, and it's hard to win when you can't get stops. And then we just needed to improve our athleticism. I think we've done that. We've covered, you know, I think we're better defensively in part because we're better athletically. Hopefully that will, you know, come to fruition as the season starts. But yeah, I mean, we got to get back to being Fort Hays State, and I felt like being a little more physical and on that end of the floor than we were last year. If we do that, hopefully good things will happen for us.
All right, and then Coach Hobson, kind of the same question for you. You know, you guys have been a mainstay really in Kansas City, especially towards the end of the tournament. You know, how do you continue to build on that so you're in the running again this year?
Well, that's a good question. I think this year's so disjointed that it's just going to be different even getting there. But you know, I think we'll be in the running somewhere. I mean, we'll be competitive. I think it'll just depend on how our seniors and returners can drag our freshmen along and how they improve. and adapt to conference play. But you know, I think we'll be in the mix there somewhere, hopefully, and we'll just see how it goes.
All right, well, we appreciate both you guys' time, Coach Johnson, Coach Hobson. Thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck this season.